What the hell is Saw Sports or whatever that last call was talking about? What the hell is that?
Guys are from Free Love, man.
What is up, Sauce Nation? It is your boy Hector Flores coming at you with a video, and in this video we're going to talk about Dynamo and a specific thing that I brought up in the recent stream that we did going a while back, kind of our return to Sauce Sports TV, if you will. And one of the things that I mentioned about the Dynamo was it would be in their best interest to go out and get them a player that is Mexican. And I know that that sounds kind of specific, but the reason why I say that is because of the fact that we do have a massive Mexican demographic here in Houston, Texas. And if there's one thing I know about Mexican fans, especially because I grew up with a lot of friends that were Mexican when I played soccer, they support the hell out of their players, especially guys that play for Mexico. And I think that it would be a very smart decision for the Dynamo to go ahead and bring in these guys to be part of their team. And you see it a lot. You see when, you know, obviously when the season started, when Chicharito came to Houston, there was a big crowd here, mainly to see Chicharito. We've also seen it happen with Carlos Vela and Giovanni Dos Santos when he used to play with the LA Galaxy. And so it would be in the best interest to get somebody that the Mexican crowd would want to come see. Obviously, you can go out and get yourself a European player, big name guy, but I just don't think it would necessarily do much, because the big thing is trying to get the Mexican demographic, in my honest opinion, because of how supportive they are and how they follow. And all it takes is for this player to go in there, they go watch a game to see this one player, and all of a sudden they look at it and they're like, hey, this team isn't that bad, and they become Dynamo fans afterwards. So these are 5 players that I think would be good additions to the Dynamo that have either addressed a need or honestly is a player that could come in and get the fans going. Now, obviously when we do these top 5 lists, we always have a bonus at the end, so make sure you guys stay tuned all the way through the video so you can see all the players that I bring out, and tell me what you guys think in the comment section of these players that I list. And make sure you guys like this video and subscribe to Sauce Sports TV so you guys can get that content on the other teams here in H-Town, whether it be the Astros, the Dynamo, or the Rockets, or any other team in the Houston and Houston area. But without further ado, let's get going with this video. So to start things off with this list, I'm actually going to go ahead and bring up a forward who primarily plays striker, but can play also on the wings, and that is Alexis Vega, who currently plays for Chivas. He is 22 years old, and he's currently has 6 caps with the Mexican national team. Now, for those of you who don't know what caps just mean appearances. So this guy is still in the early stages of his career with the Mexican national team, but I think it would be a good idea to go ahead and bring in a younger Mexican player, the one that's on the verge of starting to solidify himself with the Mexican national team, and we'll be seeing more time with them. And so it would be in the best interest to bring this guy in. Now, the thing that I'll mention, a lot of these guys have contracts either ending this year or next year. Now, for the guys that are ending in this year, obviously it's pretty easy. You go out and pursue him, give him an offer, and have him come to the team. But with the guys that are their contract expiring in 2021, in that final year of their contract, I think the Dynamo can go in and try to make a deal, maybe get it a little bit on the cheaper end, since this guy's on the verge of leaving if they don't make a big deal with the team. So it would be in the team's best interest to at least get something out of it. So the reason why I bring that up is just so you guys know. But a little bit about the career of Alexis Vega. He has made a total of 118 appearances, has scored 26 goals, 8 assists, 13 yellow cards, and 4 red cards. Mind you, he's only 22 years old, so those numbers are going to increase, especially as a forward. His goal numbers will get better as we continue on with his career. But I think Alexis Vega, a young person, obviously I'm thinking forward, also he can play on the wing, would be a very vital thing for this team. And it's kind of that, hey, if we lose Mauro Manotas, we have Alexis Vega that could come in and be our future for the team as far as the forward position goes. Alright, so at number 4 I have Luis Rodriguez. He plays right back but can also play on the right wing. He is 29 years old and currently plays for Tigres. He has a total of 18 caps with the Mexican national team. Is more of a current Mexican national team player, and his contract will actually be expiring this year. So this is definitely one of the guys that I feel the Dynamo can go ahead and make a move for. Tigres is a very stacked team, so to be honest, Luis Rodriguez could probably be starting to lose a spot in that team, especially with the young players that Tigres has that always find gems in that club, especially with the amount of things that team has as far as money wise. They obviously can go get someone else or already have someone in place for Luis Rodriguez. But I think that this guy is very seasoned. Now, obviously, we're talking about a defender, and I don't necessarily think defenders are a graphic need, but the fact that he is a player that has been playing with the Mexican national team is someone kind of well respected, in my opinion, and comes from Tigres. I think that this would be a pretty easy kind of transition for a lot of Mexican fans, especially those that are supporters of Tigres, which there is a lot of Tigres fans here in Houston. So not only do you have a guy that plays for Tigres, but also plays for a national team in Mexico, and so it kind of fills in some things that like guys will come in, watch this dude play because he played very well for Tigres in his time. So this would be a smart move. But in the whole career of Luis Rodriguez, he has a total of 275 appearances, 16 goals, 27 assists, 43 yellow cards, and 1 red card. He's a solid player, can definitely help with the attack, and obviously can provide goals of himself. So Luis Rodriguez, I think, will be a very solid addition for this team. Alright, so kind of going back to the whole young thing, I got Berland Pineda, who is a center midfielder but can play on the left wing. He's 24 years old and currently plays for Cruz Azul. His contract is actually going to expire in 2021, and he has a total of 21 caps with the Mexican national team. So this is a guy that's obviously 24 years old. He's going to start going into those years where he's getting more knowledge. He's being very well developed. He's going to be honing into being a star player, and this would be a smart move for the Dynamo to get in quick and get him and make him kind of a focal point for the team. So far in his career playing, he has a total of 228 appearances, has scored 25 goals, 19 assists, 22 yellow cards, and 3 red cards. I think this guy would be a solid addition. I think it would be smart for the Dynamo to go ahead and get him, especially as young as he is, and maybe try to take advantage of the fact that he will be going to his final year in 2021. Alright, at number 2, I got a big name. The last 2 guys are definitely more in the upper end when it comes to well-known in the Mexican fan base, and this one is Miguel Layún. He plays right back, but to be honest, man, the guy plays everywhere. He can be a center back, he can be a fullback, he can play in the midfield, he can play on the wings, and he can even play up front for you. This guy can do it all. He has a ton of experience. He has played in Europe, currently plays for Monterrey. He is 31 years old, so he's going to start going towards maybe... He's not going to see a decline yet because I think he still has a lot left in his legs. But the reason why I say that is because he plays for Monterrey, a very popular team. Once again, has a big fan base here in Mexico. But he is definitely one of the more well-known Mexican players with 72 caps with the Mexican national team. And his contract is set to expire in 2021. And like I said, this guy has a lot of experience, has played with multiple players, multiple leagues. And in his career, he has a total of 369 appearances, 35 goals, 41 assists, 46 yellow cards, and 1 red card. I think this guy could honestly step in and be a captain for the Dynamo. I think he has a lot of experience. He has a lot of knowledge. He could be a really solid addition to the team, bring in some leadership, and I think that the team would be all about it. I think this would be one that a lot of fans would love to see come to the Dynamo. Alright, at number 1, this is a guy that I've been actually wanted the Dynamo to go ahead and pursue after he left the Los Angeles Galaxy, because of the fact that I think he fits perfectly to what the Dynamo needed, especially at the position he plays, but as well he's a big name player and has a ton of experience as well as playing in Europe, and that is Giovanni Dos Santos. He is a forward, a winger, but he can also play in the midfield. He could be a number 10, honestly. He is 30 years old and currently plays for Club America, with 107 caps with the Mexican national team. Yep, that's right. He is over 100 caps with the Mexican national team. Hasn't really been getting much call-ups as of recently, but still a big name player. Has played for the likes of Barcelona, which is where he started. Has played in Spain, has played in England. Obviously, he's played in Mexico, and actually has a lot of experience with the MLS playing for the LA Galaxy. So this would actually be a player that's very familiar with the league, understands how it works, and maybe can come in, try again to win an MLS Cup, something that he wasn't able to do with the LA Galaxy. And I think that this guy is a big name. I think it's somebody that people are going to come to see because of the fact that he is a Mexican player, but also because of a lot of teams that he is affiliated with. I mean, you got a former Barcelona player. He's played for Villarreal. He's played for Tottenham Hotspur. He's played for numerous clubs and has many opportunities. Only issue was he just hasn't been able to really stay with the team. But aside from that, I think that this guy is very solid, and in his career, with a total of 330 appearances, has scored 70 goals, 59 assists, and 36 yellow cards. This guy can do it for you. If you need him to score goals, he's going to score goals. If you need him to be a playmaker, he can be a playmaker. I don't think that he's near the end of his career. I think he still has a lot to play for. So I think this would be the number one guy that Dynamo need to go all in. His contract will be expiring in 2021. So I think you could definitely get him on a cheaper deal, especially with America having the resources that America has, that he can go in and get this guy maybe a little bit cheaper. And because the fact is that America has so many players, so many young players, they definitely know how to develop talent. And I think that Giovanni will not be missed. I think America has been one of the best teams in Mexico. And I think that, without him, they'll still be a dominant team. But I think it would be a good idea for the Dynamo to go ahead and pounce on this player. So like I said, man, here in Sauce Sports, even though we always give a top 5, we always give you guys a bonus every single time. And so this guy doesn't necessarily fit to a need for the team, but he's a young player, once again going back to getting guys that are maybe in the initial stages of their career where they're going to start seeing more time with the Mexican national team. And then obviously if they get more experience, they get exposed in the international tournaments, and obviously eventually a big club would want to go ahead and purchase these guys. So when you see these younger guys, obviously if we can give them their exposure, get their brand out there, these teams in Europe are going to come in and start throwing cash at us, and I think that this would be the way to go with him. Though it'd be great to keep him long term, obviously, but this guy is Eduardo Agita. He's a left back, but can also play in the midfield. So the value as well is because he can play in the midfield. But once again, we don't necessarily need defensive players, in my opinion. Though the injury with Jose Bizema was a big loss, but I do think that the defense is not necessarily a major need for the Dynamo at the time. He is 23 years old. Like I said, plays for Pachuca. He has right now 8 caps with the Mexican national team, and his contract is set to expire in 2021. In his career so far, he's had 174 appearances, has scored 8 goals, 16 assists, and 12 yellow cards. I think that this guy is part of that future for Mexico. Mexico has always been really good at developing their homegrown players in their home league, and it's shown, as you've seen a lot of these guys also going out there in Europe. Chucky Lozano is obviously one of the best examples of that. But once again, Eduardo Agita, I think it's going to be a smart move for the Dynamo to go in and jump on this kid right now. This one's probably going to be the pricier one of all the players. And the reason why I say that is because I just don't think Pachuca is going to be really that big on letting this guy leave. This is why he's my bonus. I just don't think it's very likely to happen. But if there was a guy to go all out for, to get a really young player, this would be the guy, because I think that this guy would be massive for the team. Already quality of play, but when it was time to sell this guy, they're going to get a big payday from them. And so that's why I have Eduardo Agita for the bonus. So that is my list for Mexican players that I think the Dynamo should definitely look at going for and bringing them into the Dynamo. I think that these names could go ahead and bring people to the games, especially Mexican fans, but also fans of the Mexican teams that these guys are for. Obviously, you had a wide range of teams. You had America, you had Monterrey, you had Cruz Azul, you had Tigres, you had Chivas, and Pachuca that I mentioned. So there is a lot of people that are fans of these teams that live here in Houston. Obviously, if you bring these guys, you can definitely get people to come. And I think one of the best examples is when the Dynamo went and got Vicente Sanchez. And I speak this from personal reasons, because one of the fun fact about me, when the team that I watch from Mexico is Toluca, and Vicente Sanchez is a legend for Toluca, but also played in America. And so when Vicente Sanchez got signed, I ran as fast as I could. I don't know why I ran, but I got excited. I freaking got I remember going to the Dynamo practice. I had my Toluca jersey. I was ready for Vicente Sanchez to sign it. He did sign it. I have it signed. I need to frame it at some point. But that's just kind of what it is, that Liga MX is something that people watch here, especially here in Houston, because there is a lot of people that do support these Liga MX teams. And so I think that if we can bring some of those guys, those really high-end players or potential talented players over here, it's just going to make it an easy transition for these guys to come watch the Dynamo, watch them, and then realize maybe that this team is not that bad, especially if the product on the field is really well. So not only would they be coming to come watch their favorite player from their team, but now they're kind of getting a groove of liking the Dynamo as well. So that's just my thought. Tell me what you guys think of the guys that I listed. If there's a Mexican player that you guys think that you would want to see in the Dynamo, go ahead and drop in the comment section. Obviously, please subscribe to Saucy Sports TV. If you guys want more of an interaction with guys from the Roundtable or with Ed Honcho, Mr. Saucy Sports himself, make sure you guys join the Patreon. If you get that $5 tier, you'll get access to our Discord, which I guarantee you is great conversation. You'll have a lot of fun with it. I highly recommend it. It's $5, man, but it was well worth it. So if you guys definitely want more interaction, I highly recommend you guys get into the Patreon. But with all that being said, man, that's all I got. Chucking up a deuce. Y'all stay saucy.
Perfect.